excitement is starting to build as the lights are about to go green for today's qualifying session. We expect some cars out on track any moment now.
Hello and welcome to Hungary Racing's World Series. I'm known as Dave Lays in Beds, and to be honest, I've been doing that quite a bit lately. And I'm in the commentary box once again for round 10 at Hungary for the World Series drivers. Joined in the commentary box, as per usual this season, by Steve Sherberts. I take it you're well this evening?
I'm very well.
Good. Do you want to tell them what you've just pointed out there?
It says rain. But on my screen, I've also read it says rain likely after a dry start. So if that is the case for qualifying, they need to get out there quick.
That is very true. If there is potential of rain, the drivers are going to have to get out there. It does look lovely and sunny at the moment, but that can all change very, very quickly. So I'm just going to keep it on the timing screen for a moment while I try and quickly run through the the championship leaderboards. Okay, after the last round at Silverstone, we've got Konzo leading the championship now on 118 points, followed by Farfba on 113 points, and then Killer Corkin on 112 points. But Killer Corkin's let us know today he's not able to race this evening, and it's too late to get a reserve in, so Killer Corkin could lose out a lot today. Eraser on 104 points in fourth place, followed by Rickster. So there's only 18 points covering the top 5 drivers in the World Series at the moment. We've then got Richie Davey on 63 points. If there's ever, well, we've said it a few times, if there's ever a race he needs to win, it's this one, and he's not won yet.
I think we'll stop saying that.
Yeah. Jason on 52 points, My Bad on 43 points, Adam 4600 on 36 points. But again, I don't think he's let us know, unless he did let us know that he can't make it this week. I can't remember now, but either way, the only reserves that are available are in the race. So Adam 4600 is not with us this evening. Charlie is on 24 points, and then Nightwalker from our Racing NW on 16 points, and then Andy on 6 points. But Andy, 2 races in a row now, he's not been able to make it to the circuit. I think he may still be struck in that Stringfellows that he was rumoured to be locked in at Silverstone. Yeah.
Would that be after his signing for Ferrari?
It could be, yeah. Sign Ferrari and get locked in at Stringfellows. Okay, in the constructors, we've got Red Bull leading the way on 225 points, followed by Williams on 162, then Toro Rosso on 162, McLaren on 152, Ferrari on 95, Lotus on 68, and Sauber on 26. So that's the standings then in the World Series. So let's have a look at who we've got on circuit at the moment. Now, Mulrine here is in as a reserve driver in for Sauber this week, and it sounds like he's got something dodgy going on with his engine there, so I think we'll go and ride on board with somebody else. Konzo, a driver who I think he's my pick for today, to be honest. He may not get pole, but I've got a feeling he could go on to take the win here. He's not your pick though. Who's your pick for today?
If I was a betting man and I had money to put on a driver, I would be putting money on a Razor.
A Razor?
Or as yesterday's commentator was pronouncing it, a Razor.
Richie Davey has retired from the session.
Ooh.
I wonder if he's had a bit of a crash somewhere, or whether it's
strategic.
Could it be strategic? It might be worth just having a quick look on the race director to see if he's had an accident.
A good solid time though, but just done by Rickster. I just will say that 22.0.
So Rickster's done a 22.0, but his first sector's a 28.3, but Connors is a 28.1. Sector 2 of a 31.1. Probably not as quick as he would like to have gone here.
Nothing on the race director.
Okay, so maybe it is tactical from Richie Davey then. So Konzo heading up to the final corner here, a tricky little corner. It tempts you to take a tight line in, but it's not always the best way. And then aggressive down the start finish, and it's a 23.1. So your pick for the day is a Razor then. Now obviously he did race as a reserve in the World Championship last night, so he has got a bit of experience. My question would be, let's say for example in the World Series you can use assists. So if he usually does use assists, in the World Championship you can't, he turned them all off. Has he turned them back on? Has he remembered to turn them back on?
He still has the option to do that, hasn't he? He can still go into his options and do that if he wants to. But if I was him, I would at this point in time, now he's started using no assists, carry on with no assists, because he'll only get faster and faster and benefit from it.
Definitely, I would agree there. Now, I have just heard the microphone click, and I was going to mention it anyway, that Rachel Brooks is not joining us in the usual fashion this week because
she's naked.
He has not been well this week, but Ray is with us. So how are you today, Ray?
I'm fine. I've just got news. Richard Davey just smashed up his car.
Oh, so Richie Davey did have a crash then. He smashed up his car. So that's not gone too well for Richie Davey, and that's one of the things with this Hungarian circuit. At first glance, it doesn't look like a racetrack where you're going to end up putting the car into a wall. But then when you get on the track and you start pushing, exit of turn 1, you can lose it there. Exit of turn 4, turn 5. There's a lot of places where you can end up in the barriers.
It's a very narrow circuit, and not only is it a narrow circuit, the walls are actually quite close to the circuit as well.
They are. Okay, Mulrein's coming around the final corner with a Sauber engine that's not sounding too great. Ferrari powered, but sounding a bit more like Rev power at the moment. Mulrein's just gone pole position.
Wow.
With a 121.7, so maybe the lawnmower sounding engine is quick, but that's just bumped Rickster off pole position.
Rickster had done his lap and kind of rolled into the pits in pole position, thought he'd done his job for the day, and wow.
Yep.
Shot out of the blue there.
My Bad has just come into the pits. Now we must mention as well that Front Row Racing NW will not be putting in a qualifying lap today. After the incident first corner incident at Silverstone, he did admit himself the first corner collision was his own fault. He was too cautious and got hit from behind, so he's received a qualifying penalty for today's event. Now your pick, a Razor, he's only gone 7th.
Yes, but I think he might just be out on circuit doing some laps, getting used to the feel of the car again today. Maybe he's not had much practice so far today.
Quite possibly.
It's when it comes down to the race that counts.
Now he has been very unlucky in races over the previous weeks. I mean, even at Silverstone he was unlucky, sort of getting himself into a fight and ended up in a collision, which was no one's fault really, and just pure unlucky. Now Jason here, he's on the prime tyre. Now obviously you're not going to get a particularly fast lap time in on the prime tyre, but I know at previous events people have wondered why are guys driving round on the prime tyre.
I did it yesterday.
You did it yesterday. Well, there could be a few reasons. One could be that the driver's just wanting to put a few laps in and get to grips with a circuit. Another might be for strategy, because if you use up all your option tyres in qualifying and you want to use a few of them in the race, they're going to have wear on them. So Jason then in the 30s in sector 1, that's not really going to help him on lap time, but he is on the prime tyre. His sector 2 time for primes isn't great, but it's not awful, and he's into the pits anyway. Okay, on board with one of the McLarens, I won't say which, so he doesn't know we're watching him, but he's dived into the pit lane anyway, so now he knows who it was.
Just a bit more information on the Rich Davey.
Yep, go ahead.
He lost control at turn 1, straight into the barrier.
You see now, I mean, I did say that you can lose the car around here in quite a few places, and turn 1 is one of them. I mean, it's one of those places where even if you're on the racetrack, you get on the power too much, open that DRS too soon, you can lose the rear end.
Connor's
you get up.
Just starting a flying lap now.
Okay, Connor's just started a flying lap. Yeah, I mean, you get on the curb, you get on the throttle, you open the DRS, and away you go. Or, as was seen in the World Championship race from yesterday, two teammates go side by side around turn 1 and end up hitting each other, and away you go.
Well, before we pass judgment on that, one driver says they hit each other.
Well,
the other driver says there was no contact.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that to the race directors to deal with.
Yeah. Okay, so Konzo then, he's on an out lap according to the timing screen there.
Just on here, it said he was on a flyer.
Ah, right, okay. I think most people are either in the pit lane or just on an out lap now. Well, this is one of those circuits, I know when I was doing the practice session on Friday, that I had Kev in the commentary booth with me for a few moments before he got disconnected, which really made him panic for last night's race. That this is one of those circuits where you don't really benefit by attacking the track. It's a little bit like Monaco. In the dry, if you can attack the track, you benefit hugely. This is not one of those circuits. It's similar to Monaco in many respects, but it's not a track you benefit from attacking. It's one of those courses where you benefit more by being smooth on your braking, smooth on your turning, smooth on your acceleration.
To me, I class this circuit as an F1 go-kart track.
Yeah.
And it's about taking the speed from one corner into the next.
Definitely.
And
maintaining
a speed through a certain section of corners.
Definitely. Okay, so Konzo then heading around turn 3, heading up to turn 4 where Massa had his unfortunate accident. A very tricky corner, this one, blind apex, but he's clipped the apex beautifully. It's a 28.4 sector 1, so it's a little bit down on the fastest times at the moment.
But it is equal with Mulrines. Near enough.
It is equal with Mulrines, and Mulrines on provisional pole at the moment. Oh, he's had a bit of a moment on the exit of the curb. He's got to get the car settled back down, which it looks like he may have just been able to do. Now, sector 2, he needs to be looking somewhere mid-29s if possible. It's a 30.0. It may be good enough for second or third place, depending on his final sector. And the final corner here, it's a corner that I do not like. You have to be so patient in these new era of Formula 1 cars, whereas the V8 versions, you could carry so much more speed around some of these corners. And then head into the start finish, and it's a 21.9. It is third place, and that's just ahead of Farfba, who is just about to start a fly-in lap. Now, he's the start of the season, he pretty much blew away the whole field in World Series for this season. The last couple of races not gone to plan for him at all, so in a way he could really do with just a solid point scoring race here. But this is one of those tracks as well where if you haven't had a lot of practice around here, you're not necessarily going to know what's the best thing to do for strategy, how your tyre wear is going to be, where you can gain time, and where you need to be careful.
This is where if you've got that booklet that you can get with the hard box edition, it gives you the tips for each circuit, and it will not tell you necessarily what setup you need, but it will give you an idea whether you need a higher downforce, lower downforce. But also, if you've not done much practice, then I would. Sorry, I've just noticed Rickster's retired from session. What I would do is stick to what the your engineers say for strategy.
Paul's made a mess made a mistake in sector 2 there. That's going to cost his sector 2 time. I can hear Ray's microphone clicking. What have you got for us, Ray?
I've just been down to the Kirkiston, and he's asked any comment on your racing future, Dave? Any
comment on my racing future? Oh, now there's an interesting question, a very interesting question, as Paul does a 22.1 and does not improve on his lap time. I did think I saw Rickster putting in purple sectors, but it was just he has retired from the sessions. I'm wondering whether he's had a bit of a collision with a barrier somewhere as well. Konzo looking like he's on an in lap.
Was that no comment then, Dave?
No, I just kind of sideswiped the question, really, didn't I? What's my racing future? My career? I don't know. Perhaps I should go with a political response of there's discussions going on, but at this moment in time it would probably be best not to say anything until everything is confirmed and clarified, and then we can announce it at the right time.
You're not going to retire and become a steward, are you?
Oh God, no. Like I want that hassle. Okay. No, I could. I was going to say something then. As far as racing and front row racing, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, in a way, it would be unfair of someone like, say, for example, myself, Kev 187, to drop out of the World Championship and go down into the World Series, because not being cruel to any of the drivers, but it wouldn't be fair on any of them. So yeah, I mean, all I could say really is watch this space.
Rich Davey needs a toilet break and it's hoping there's enough time left.
Well, he's got 3 minutes. Can Richie Davey have a comfort break in that time? Well, that would depend on whether it's a number 1 or a number 2. If he doesn't pull away at the start line, we know which it is.
It's a number 2.
It's the number 2. Okay, 3 minutes and counting then for Richie Davey.
Go, go, go!
Push. I'm trying to think of some songs now, but I don't really want to.
It's hammer time.
It's hammer time. Okay, right. What have we got? Have we got anyone putting in purple sectors at the moment? It doesn't look like it according to the timing screen.
It does look like this session is going to stay dry, so
yeah.
Interesting to what happens in the race.
Yeah, now I'm wondering whether the weather forecast perhaps then is for...
the whole event, I've just had a look.
Quite possibly, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen. Now, we didn't see Mulrine put in his pole time earlier.
We did, he was on board.
Well, he was on board for the final couple of corners. He's on an out lap now with 2 minutes to go, with his engine sounding a little bit better. I do have a feeling that Rickster may well have had a crash somewhere. Now, for Mulrine, if he goes and sticks it on pole position here, I mean, Rickster can't challenge him now. I don't think Konzo's got enough time. I'm not sure if Paul's going to have enough tyre life to really attack. I think Mulrine could possibly actually just back out and take it to the pit lane.
If I was Mulrine, I would do that, and I'll tell you why. I think that's exactly what Rickster's done. He's put in... Rickster's done 5 laps, 5 completed laps, so he's probably done two runs.
Yeah.
So if he's done 2 runs, he doesn't want to burn up any more rubber because he might want the spare set.
That is quite very possible.
On pole, burning up a 3rd set, which he may quite well need in the race.
Oh, he's taking too much curb at turn 4. It did sound like there was a bit of a lift on the exit there. Let's see, Mulrine's done... I mean, he's only done 3 laps, so he's probably only done the 1 run before, which... If he can get a better lap in on the 1 hot lap, does give him a better set of tyres to start the race on. What's his sector? His sector 1 times down by 4/10. No, it's by more than 4/10 of a second. It's nearly 8/10 of a second, and his second sector's down.
He did have a little bit of a cut moment where he backed out. So
he did.
Sector 2.
And it did look like he went wide as well around turn 2, so that could be what has cost him. He may get to go on for another flying lap.
But personally, I wouldn't do it.
I don't think I would either. Not at this moment in time. Not unless he knows that he damaged that previous set of tyres. Okay, Paul is on track, so he has got a chance of improving. Eraser's in the pits. Jason's about to come and complete... what will be his last lap maybe. He's got 5-6 seconds to cross the line. Will he do it? It's going to be close. 3, 2, he will. He can get 1 more lap in. So he's on...
Charlie's session is over.
It is over, yeah. So Paul then heading around turn 5. That's a corner as well where it's very easy, very easy for the drivers to lose it on the exit of that corner. Oh, and it looks like we've got Sauber struggling a bit on a curb there. Visually, the broadcast view is not liking this, but there we go. Okay, so let's see. I don't think Paul's going to really challenge Mulrine for pole position here, because it does look like Mulrine has been catching him up over the course of the lap. He may have ran a little bit wide there, difficult to see, but is Mulrine going to improve? I mean, I kind of agree with you. At this point of the session, I'd have just chucked it into the pits, unless he knows that he's perhaps locked up a tyre, caused a bit of damage, and thinks that this set would be better. But with that kind of line around the final corner, I don't think it will have been. So Jason then, currently saying 8th place, looks like he will be the last to get a time in. He will, but if he's not up, he would benefit from popping it into the pit lane as well.
I wonder how many drivers...
Which he is doing.
I wonder how many drivers have gone with a slightly more wet setup, having seen the weather forecast.
Well, the thing is...
Mulrine's gone for a low downforce.
The thing is, around this circuit, though, you don't really need a wet setup. I mean, what I would perhaps... Well, I suppose for some drivers they might. I mean, I've said it, and a number of other people have said it. Even the real F1 teams will say it. When you come to this track, you treat it aerodynamically the same as Monaco.
Yes.
So you want maximum aerodynamics around this track. It's going to benefit you on grip. It's going to benefit you on tyre life. It's going to hurt you a little bit on straight line speed. But the other two are a bigger benefit. So if people are running low aerodynamics around here, it may benefit them to perhaps think, oh, it might rain, I'll put a bit more on. But there's the end of the qualifying session. It was very, very close between Mulrine and Rickster, but I don't think either of us expected Mulrine to go and stick it on pole position there.
That was unbelievable by Mulrine, but he's got, you know, does he need to concentrate on the race? He's in for a reserve. He wants to just go and show this league how it's done, and he's done it exactly there in qualifying. He's stamped his mark straight away.
That is very, very true. Okay then, so as we get ready for the Hungarian Grand Prix for the World Series drivers, it'll be 35 laps around the Hungaroring, and Michael Schumacher holds the lap record here with a 1 minute 19.
I've just noticed Jason qualified on the primes.
He was on the options at the end, so I wonder if he didn't improve.
He mustn't have done.
Interesting.
He went out of the pits.
He went into the pits, yeah. So he didn't improve on his first lap and went into the pits. That'd be why. So Jason may be starting on the prime tyres here, even if he doesn't want to. A sunny start to the race. And for anyone that's interested, when reserve drivers do take part, they do only score points for the team that they are competing for, not for themselves.
And also, only if they can swim.
Well, yeah, also only if they can swim. We should probably talk about that at some point, actually, because, I mean...
I'm only mentioning it because Pete's mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was told about it, I was absolutely shocked. And I could not believe it. But there we go. Okay, I think I've got you behind me, and I'm guessing it'll be Ray next to us. Okay, so we've got about 10 seconds until the lights go green then for the Front Row Racing World Series Round 10 at Hungary. Do you want to pick a winner for the race?
No.
Ray says Conzo. Right, I see. He was my pick. Okay, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's time to go. And there they go, off they go. I'm going to wait a moment, give them plenty of time to get down to the first corner. And let's see, I hope to Lord, even though I don't believe in God, that we're not going to have carnage at the first corner. As Richie Davey is having a look, he needs a... Oh, Charlie sideways, and now Williams is wide. I was going to say Richie Davey needs a clean first corner. It was my bad that was wide. Yeah, Richie Davey needs a... Oh, Charlie looking for a move up the inside of a Razor. Pushes him a little wide. Is that going to catch Richie? I want Richie to get through the first few laps without incident.
Jason is on the options. He is on the options.
Oh, so maybe it was just the timing screen that was showing a little bit off there. Now, we've got a Sauber at the back. That'll be Nightwalker. And he has chosen to start the race on the prime tyre by the looks of it. Now, Rickster... Oh, I don't think it's allowing me to ride on board with Rickster. Either that or I was just too eager. So Mulrine leading the way with Farfbert behind him, but he's ran wide, as quite a few of the drivers are doing so. It's a very tricky corner on the first few laps. Oh, Rickster's very wide now. And something the drivers are going to have to be very, very careful of is track limits around this particular circuit. It's tricky, it's tight, but they've got to do it fairly.
Paul looks like he could be lining up for an attack on Mulrine here.
The thing is, at a circuit like this, is there a benefit to attacking straight away as early as possible?
Well, in my view, yes, because you want the clear air in front of you, because you follow a car around here, your engine gets hot.
Oh, it does. Now, it looks like we've got a Red Bull having a look on the McLaren. So is that Conzo? It is Conzo having a look up the inside of Rickster. Rickster gives him the room. Now, DRS is not going to be active, but Rickster looks like he is fighting back already. Yeah, I don't think he'll be able to make it work around the outside there. Around the outside.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the fridge, but they do manage to get around turn 3 and head up to turn 4 with what looks like Richie Davey right behind them.
Rickster's run a little bit wide.
He has run a bit wide. So if the audio's off a little bit now, it's because I'm grabbing a beer for my co-commentator, because I saw him pick up his coffee cup and realise it was empty. See, the things us commentators have to put up with while getting ready to watch the races.
There you go.
Oh, there's a Williams going very, very wide there. That's my bad. Now, for my bad, we both know that he's never raced at this circuit before. He's done the practice this week, and we know that he has found it very, very difficult to get a setup and find a rhythm of the circuit. But at the moment, he's running in about 9th place, 8th place.
At the moment, Rich Davies kept it clean, but his car does look rather heavy. I don't think he managed to lose that extra weight.
That is quite possible. That is quite possible. A little longer needed for his comfort break. But at the moment, I mean, he's worked his way up to 5th place. And all he needs to do is, now that DRS...
Keep it clean.
Yeah, keep it clean. And now the DRS is active, for all of the drivers, it's similar. Don't go for any crazy kind of overtakes. Yes, it's frustrating that you might get stuck behind a driver. Oh, but a Razor's gone wide. Now, I was going to say, yeah, it's frustrating getting stuck behind a driver, but sometimes you just have to look more at forcing them into an error rather than going for an overtake.
Also, depending on what strategy you're running, you've got to... Oh, I was a bit wide there by one of the drivers. You've got to be wary of your tyres as well, because if you keep attacking, you'll burn your rubber off.
We've missed it. The cameraman's not done a very good job there, but Paul has now worked his way into the lead. So Mulrine is down into 2nd place and got Konzo all over the back of him. Now this is where really Paul needs Mulrine to hold up all of the cars behind him so he can just get released, break DRS, and it looks like Mulrine's struggling for grip here.
Is this because he's done too many laps on his rubber, on his tyres?
Quite possibly, because if he didn't improve in qualifying at the end, which we don't believe he did, this could be why he was really trying to force the issue of getting a better lap in, because he's done too many laps on his set of tyres that he's now started the race in.
Maybe that pole time that he did just surprised himself as well as everyone else.
Quite possibly, but Konzo now with a nice move. I was going to say nice move into 2nd, but he's into the barrier, down to 4th place now. And that'll be pretty much probably exactly what Richie Davey did, but ended up with a hell of a lot more damage. Oh, I think that camera may have just been destroyed. Oh, it's going to get busy up into turn 4 here. This is where the drivers are going to need to take it easy around there. Rickster trying to have a sneaky look up the inside of Mulrine. Okay, is allowing me to ride with Rickster into the horrible Mickey Mouse chicane.
It looked like actually Mulrine had a great setup for low fuel. But
Rickster's, he was so much quicker through there, and he's hit the back of him. That's going to put the Red Bull and also McLaren well off wide then.
Mulrine's definitely the cork in the bottle at the moment.
He is. He's trying to defend, but Rickster looks like he may have the speed. But this is one of those situations where the harder Mulrine defends, the more he's going to punish his tyres as they're side by side.
This is great racing by 4 drivers at the moment.
It is, which means it's probably going to end up in absolute disaster.
I mean, the good thing here...
There we go. Oh, Rickster manages to keep it facing the right direction, but now Richie Davies into the back of him, and he's got damage. That's half his front wing gone. And now Rickster's going to go for an overtake, but Konzo's going to go for a double overtake. It can't end well, surely. They managed to get through the corner. Oh, my goodness me.
And Rich Davies now has got 4 cars all over the back of him.
He has. It's like a hunting pack following a horse instead of the
2
horses.
Cars have gone up the inside.
Oh, and they're going to make contact and they're off into the barrier.
That was a Razor.
It's a Razor. Oh no, and he's now lost his front wing. I reckon we blame Richie Davey for that one.
He's well wide at turn 4.
Oh, Richie is well wide, and that's something a Razor's going to find out here. Without a front wing, turn 4 is absolutely horrible. But for another race, Richie Davies got damage on the front end of his car, not as much as a Razor, and a Razor is not going to be happy. It's another race where damage to his car when he's in not a bad position means he's pitting very, very early now and struggling.
The only thing he can be grateful of here is he's not the only car with damage on this lap.
That is true. When he manages to come out the pits, there's a good chance that he's going to have someone to have a race with. Paul, in the meantime, though, he's leaving all this chaos behind him. So Mulrine is into the pits. Thank you very much, Ray. So he's pitted very, very early. That is indicative of tyre wear that is. To pit this early, that's tyre wear.
That's a godsend to Rich Davey.
Yeah, it is. Ferrari out, McLaren out, so I wonder if Charlie's got damage as well.
Charlie has got damage.
Yeah, Richie Davey in the pits then, Charlie in the pits, a Razor in the pits, and Paul driving off as if there's nobody else around him. He's probably come round those corners now thinking, wow, someone's had a crash here. There is lots of debris on the way into turn 3, which could cause a puncture.
Could cause puncture.
The drivers are going to have to be very, very careful. So we've now then got Konzo up into second place, Rickster into third place, and those two are going to be hoping to try and close in on Paul. And it looks like we've got Jason in fourth place. It's not letting me ride on board with Jason, so who's behind him? It's my bad. So we've got Jason and my bad then at the moment, battling it out for fourth place, and they're probably thinking, where the hell has everybody else gone? Because 4 drivers have just disappeared off the racetrack around them.
I mean, they must have seen the debris, but I mean, we've had, 4 cars into the pits on lap 5?
4 cars into the pits. Now, Mulrine wasn't for damage. I think that's more for tyre wear. But Richie Davies was for damage, as was Charlie's. But like we said, at least these guys have now still got each other to race. I didn't look actually at what tyres Richie Davies was on. So Richie's gone primes. Mulrine's gone options, so he could be quick now. Charlie was on primes. Eraser's gone primes. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out for the guys. I mean, we mentioned a little bit about strategy and how strategy might play out here. Now, obviously, myself, yourself, and Kev187, we did 2 stops yesterday. Made a strategy that worked very well for our car setups, our tyre life. And for anyone that's pitting lap 8 or before, you're not doing a 2-stop.
No, you're not doing a 2-stop. I mean, we say that, but then look at Duo Finn yesterday.
I was just about to go on to Duo Finn. How many times has it been said on reviews or in commentaries that if there's ever a guy that can make a 1-stop work, it's Duo Finn?
Yeah.
And around this track where tyre wear is diabolical, he does a 1-stop.
He makes the options after doing qualifying on them. Takes him to lap 17.
Yeah. Now, obviously, his lap times wouldn't have been absolutely, particularly very good, but he wasn't all out of control or anything like that. And he, like I say, he went to lap 17.
Not only that, before the race, he gave all the drivers a warning. He'd done no practice.
Yeah.
So he'd done no practice and still managed to get the tyres to that distance.
Definitely. Now, I've got a feeling, that Konzo and Rickster may be catching up a little bit on Paul. They can see him. Tyre wear will definitely now be a factor. And Mulrine has got ahead of his teammate for this weekend. Well, that'll be a situation where Nightwalker's on the prime tyre. So he's not there to fight Mulrine, who was further up the grid. So for Nightwalker here, he needs to take these tyres. If he can take these tyres to lap 15, he could be in a very good place.
Yes, he could be doing a 2-stop.
Now, Richie Davies looking a little bit lonely at the moment as Eraser and Charlie are getting close as we try and get ourselves a semi-decent camera view here. Oh, Charlie's definitely closing up there. Nice shot of the carbon fibre. Hopefully we won't be seeing any more of that flying off as contact with cars. Is Charlie going to have a look at the inside? No, he opts out of it. So shall we go and ride on board with Charlie while he's trying to actually attack here?
Don't say we're on board with Charlie.
That is true, don't. Yeah.
We're not on board with you, Charlie.
Or should we say we're always on board with you, Charlie? I've just been told that Rickster is into the pit lane. It's a shame it doesn't really give a better front view there, but anyway. So
just so you know, Connor took half a second out of Paul on that last lap.
So Konzo then, Charlie's wide. Konzo is half a second a lap faster than Paul at the moment.
In third, so he must have pitted.
Rickster has pitted. Ray did just tell us a moment ago. I was going to go and jump to them. to see where Rickster has come out, and he's come out behind Mulrine, but Mulrine obviously pitted 3-4 laps ago, so he's had the potential benefit of 3 to 4 seconds a lap with brand new tyres. But Rickster's now on the primes, I think, by the looks of it. No, he's gone for another set of options, so he's matching Mulrine for tyres.
Connor's taken 2 tenths in one sector out of Paul. He's really putting the hammer down here.
But Connor is really trying to catch up then and apply the pressure. Now, for Conzo, he's leading the championship at the moment, so he doesn't need to go and win this race. But if
you say that to a driver, they will ignore you.
That is true. Well, I was going to say, actually, he doesn't need to win this race. But in all fairness, if Paul beats him here... Paul
is in the pit.
Paul is in the lips. Paul is in the pits. Yeah, if Paul beats Connor here, Paul retakes the championship lead. So for Connor, it actually is kind of important to go and take a win here. So what tyres is Paul going to go for? It is the primes. Yep, it is. It's the prime tyres.
How many of these drivers have watched the World Championship event and may have benefited from watching pit strategies?
Quite possibly. I mean, it would be advisable for the World Series drivers to watch the World Championship races to see what some of the drivers actually do when it comes to strategies and things like that. So Mulrine has made a big undercut on Paul as well, but obviously Mulrine, I think, is going to be pitting again in at least another 5 laps time.
His tyres are 5 laps old.
Yeah.
And this would be his last set of fresh options.
Yes, they would.
If he went out on fresh options in each run in qualifying.
Now, because Paul has just pitted and put the prime tyre on, the potential is there that because these options are 5 laps old, that Paul is going to be doing a very similar lap time to Mulrine, even though he's on the prime tyre. So Mulrine's tyres are going to go off now, and Paul's are just going to start warming up. Oh, Mulrine's gone wide. You don't want to be doing that, young man.
And so far in this event as well, since the race has started, we've not mentioned rain. And at the moment, there's not a cloud in the sky. We've got Connor in the pits.
Conzo is in the pits. It'll be interesting to see what tyres he does. And I do wonder if some of the drivers have watched what happened last night, going to lap 10, putting prime tyres on. This looks a little bit like someone's strategy that we know of. But it's worth doing. I mean, if I was racing in the World Series and there was a league higher in knowing what lap times they're doing,
with Paul.
It is going to be close. And I think Paul is ahead. By the looks of it, Paul is ahead. He's already round turn 1, but he's with Rickster, yes. So it's not Conzo that he's battling with at the moment, it's Rickster. So Rickster, he did have a lap or 2 undercut on Paul, but he's on the option tyre, so he is potentially going to be quicker at this moment in time.
But at the moment, though, Rickster is 4 seconds behind Mulrine. That's how much Mulrine's pit stop has helped him jump at the
definitely. I think Paul might be finding out that his setup on prime tyres is not feeling very nice. I just saw him struggling to get it into the apex of turn 4.
That could just be the temperature, trying to get the temperature into them tyres, because we know that the primes around here, they take 2-3 laps to get the temp to where you want them.
It definitely could do.
Even though the circuit's hot, even though you've got high track temperature, high air temperature, these primes here, they do take a long time to get up to temperature.
They do. They are horrible. I mean, I said on the team radio to Kev yesterday, once we'd both pitted for the prime tyres, I said, be careful, mate, because they're horrible and they're really, really cold. And I said it. Well, I then added on, watch out at turn 4 because it's really horrible up there. And I said that just as he got there, and he's like, oh my God, you're not wrong. Oh, I was like, nope. So yeah, anyway. Okay, so, it won't let me ride on board with Jason. It's taken me to Richie Davey, though, but he's right behind My Bad at the moment, who looks like he may have... Oh, that's Jason just ahead. So we've got Richie Davey, My Bad, and Jason just ahead, but it won't let me ride on board with Jason.
Has taken a second out of Mulrine's lead in 1 lap.
Oh, well, that'll be good for Rickster because he's on option tyres that are possibly 3 laps old, and Mulrine's are getting to that point now where he'll be thinking, oh no, I'm going to have to pit again soon.
That gap is closing dramatically.
It is, as Richie Davies all over the back of my bad. The thing is, for Mulrine, he's in that difficult situation now of he's got to drive around a tricky circuit and do some mathematics to try and work out when he needs to pit, because if he pits a moment too soon, he's going to have to do an additional stop.
This is where the practice does come in handy, when you've practiced on 50% races and you know exactly how long each set of tyres are going to go.
Definitely. Now, we saw a moment ago Richie Davey doing a bit of drifting around one of the corners, and that is indicative of this particular racetrack. It's very easy to get the rear end out here. But for Richie Davey, down in 7th place is a position that he's not going to want to be in. And
another second Rickster's taken out, so he's now 2.1 seconds behind.
He definitely is. Now, when Rickster gets really close, we'll go and have a look. But at the moment, I am interested in this battle here between Richie, Mybad and Jason, because it does look like Mybad's closing up on Jason and Richie Davies closing up on them both. But, I mean, Richie's not... I mean, the season where we start doing podium interviews, he's only had the one.
And he keeps asking if he can have some interviews.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do a pretend one. So, Richie Davey, how did your race go? Terrible, I lost my front wing. Okay, moving on.
I wonder if over the course of the season he'll use more front wings than Charlie.
Oh!
Well, there is 19 races, so it's possible.
That is true. I just heard Ray's microphone click. Go on, Ray, what have you spotted?
It seems as if Richie Davey lost a lot of time in that last corner of the last lap there. He's quite far back now.
He might have done. I mean, he will have done a fair few laps on the prime tyres now, but it's time to go and have a look at Rickster and Mulrine, because that gap has closed in.
Could be within a second.
It might well be. And he's had a bit of a wide line around the final corner. That's given Rickster every opportunity. DRS is open. Up the inside he goes. Now they just need to keep it clean around turn 1, and Rickster gets the move made. But has Mulrine got a better exit line? No, he hasn't.
I don't think he's got the tyres under him to compete at the moment.
Neither do I. So Rickster then moves into the lead, but I tell you what, I think we may have a bit of a battle going on. No, I thought I saw Konzo a lot closer to Paul at the moment, but he isn't quite close enough. So Rickster moves into the lead then of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Mulrine's, I think he's kind of going to be kicking himself that he didn't get that better lap in qualifying. I mean, I know we were sat there going, I'd save the tyres, but we did also say if he needs to get the lap in, because of the tyre life, he's got to go for it, and it didn't work. So he may well be kicking himself that he just couldn't quite get that lap in when he really needed to do so.
If he could do one more lap on these tyres, there's a potential that he could stretch the primes out.
That's a big ask though. I mean, he's struggling to make the options last 8, 9, 10 laps, so to try and get the primes to last 20, I think that is a very, very, very big ask.
I know Mr. Joe Finn could do it.
Mulrine's into the pits.
He is.
And I've just noticed, I think Mybad's had a bit of a moment on one of the corners, but Richie Davey was a long way off. Now, Mybad is running the option tyres here, but in all fairness, I think we'd all agree Richie Davey on the prime tyres should be just as quick, if not quicker, than Mybad on the prime tyres, as Richie Davey is a quick driver. But we also know that Richie Davey, when he loses a front wing, could potentially get angry, and not only that, there is always the possibility of using 3 different compounds of tyres in 3 consecutive laps.
I thought he was only going to start going on about 4-letter words then for a minute.
No. Although I would like to say, I can't believe that because I have watched the World Championship broadcast, even though it's not out public at the moment. It's being edited with its intros and outros. I want to know why Front Row Race. Let's go on board with him actually. While I mention this, I want to know, Mr. Front Row Racing NW, why at one point you said, "Let's go on board with Mr. Front Row Racing Deepoo." Deepoo. Who's Deepoo? I guess that's me. Thank you very much. Right, okay.
Also say Front Row Racing P.
That is true, but
So
I think
got peas and poos.
peas and poos. I thought it was usually sweet corn in poos. Anyway, let's change that topic of conversation. Richie Davey. Mybad's had a bit of a moment there, giving Richie half a chance to close up. Mulrine's come out in 5th place. Jason's in 4th. Konzo, is he closed up to Paul at all?
He's closed up to Paul a little bit, but he's not gaining on the leader.
Okay, so Rickster then 10 seconds ahead of Connor by the looks of it. Paul's probably 3 seconds ahead of Connor.
Yeah, it's about that.
So Rickster's got about a 6-second lead, but he'll be in the pits early. I mean, we saw Mulrine just make a pit stop. Actually, didn't have a look at what tyres Mulrine was on. He's on the options again. So, Richie is good. He is going for an overtake, and it looks like he's going to make it stick into turn 1. Should also get DRS on the exit as well. Oh no, he's losing it! Oh! I tell you what, Jim did very well to avoid turning that into a much bigger collision there.
I think Jim might have had a messy moment in his pants then.
I think Richie did.
It sounded like in my ear that Jim did.
If Richie didn't get to fully complete his comfort break at the end of qualifying, he just completed it then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was very close. Oh, Jim's now ran a little wide, and that's going to cause him to drop off a little bit.
Slippy under his rear end.
No comment. Moving on. So Rickster then, I think we're going to be seeing Rickster pit again fairly soon, possibly now. It does look like it's now. So I've timed that quite well, because I think he did 8 laps on the first stint, 8 laps on the second stint. I've got a feeling he's going to go...
This looks straight down the line like a 3-stopper.
It does. I've got a feeling he might go options again, but I actually think he'd be better off going primes now and do the last stint on the options, but he's not. He's going options, so the Rickster's definitely on a 3-stop, and he's going to be pitting somewhere around about lap 25, 26.
What he doesn't want now is to be stuck in any traffic with cars in front of him on primes.
Definitely.
He needs clear track and to get the hammer down.
And he has come out just ahead of Jason, who is obviously just ahead of Mulrine. So Rickster's, even though Mulrine's had a bit of an undercut there, or potential undercut, not been able to make it work, so Rickster still does hold the provisional lead, but that puts Jason into a very, very strong position at the moment, because if someone like Jason is on a 2-stop, he may find himself near Rickster when it comes to the end of the race.
I'm just now feeling a bit glum at this moment.
Why is that then?
Because I had a tip of the day for a Razor, and he's down in 8th, 30 seconds behind the leader. I know he had a bit of a moment and he lost his wing, but there is other cars on the circuit that have had that incident as well. I think maybe he is trying to still go with no assists.
Quite possibly. I mean, one of the things, I mean, you know it, I know it, and quite a few of the drivers know it. You have an incident, you lose your wing, and it can just totally knock your concentration for the whole of a race.
Especially if you've got a pit strategy set out in your mind you want to go with, and then all of a sudden you've got that additional pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it to a few people, haven't we? You have a plan A pit strategy, but it is always a good idea to have that plan B. What if something happens in that first stint? What am I going to do? Because then you never have to think about it on the fly. You just go, okay, plan B, and you don't have to think about it at all then.
I mean, my plan B always is go prime and go as long as you can.
Yeah.
And then see how many laps you've got left once then primes start going off.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You put the primes on, you have an incident. Oh, Paul's gone wide. Yes, Paul's gone wide.
Connor's right up behind him.
Connor is right up behind him. That happens to be on the corner where you said, for my bad, it's got very slippy underneath his rear end. It just did for Paul as well. But yeah, I mean, having that plan B, I mean, if something does happen in those first few laps, putting the prime tyres on and seeing just how long they will go could return you back to a 2-stop strategy. It may not put you in the chance of winning a race, but it could help you jump back up a few places you may not have been able to get to. Anyway, lap 18, just, I think it's somewhere around about halfway. And I've got a feeling, I mean, these two guys, they pitted lap 10.
Paul was
he was, wasn't he? He's not giving him a very good exit either, and Connor's going to have DRS here, possibly.
He is within DRS range.
He has got DRS. He's not quite close enough to have a look at an overtake, really. And Rickster's just gone fastest, but we know he's on the option tyre. Where is Rickster? Just coming up into turn 1 now.
He's about 10 seconds behind the leader at the moment.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, he's come down a lot since I saw
He's 8 seconds behind. And Konzo's really trying to ply the guys at the moment.
But when he catches up the back of them, he doesn't want them holding him up because he needs to run.
Yeah. He does. He needs to make full use of his option tyre. But for these guys, they might not be pitting for another 6 laps.
Possibly. Or if you were Connor in this situation, would you want to try and do something different so you're not stuck behind Paul?
Oh, well, it depends. Well, possibly. I mean, if they're on a 2-stop, then they're limited to a degree. Konzo could perhaps go for an undercut.
See, at this point, he could go in the pits and go option to the end.
He could, but if he does, that could... He's tried that at other races and it hasn't worked. Go on, Ray, I've just heard your microphone click. What have you spotted?
Charlie and Rich Davey are quite close in 6 and 7.
You're right, they are. And not only is Charlie, Nightwalker, I think it is as well. Oh, and there's a car off into the gravel. It was Nightwalker.
Has Nightwalker pitted yet?
I think Nightwalker may recently have pitted because it looked like option tyres on that Sauber. He's wide, he's very wide, and another car's wide. Oh no, it looks like that incident in that particular chicane. Save it. Ooh, that was close to disaster. Well, cheers for letting us know about that one, Ray, because it's all just kicked off there.
I think Charlie got caught out with Nightwalker and it went into the back of Richie there.
I'm just keeping an eye at the moment on first and second. They are still
quite
very
possibly
close together.
But that does mean, I mean, if Nightwalker had, I mean, obviously he's pitted and come back out in, he looked like he was in about 6th, 7th place. That's a strategy that must have worked very, very well for him.
Especially if he's going option now to the end.
Yeah. On the downside, he's just been put off massively, having 2 offs in the space of a few corners. But to be fair, if you've got Richie Davey behind you grunting, you're probably going to want to get out of his way.
Yeah.
You might as well just let him go ahead. He'll probably lose his wing anyway. Okay, so we'll see if that's settled down at all then. We'll go aboard with Richie at the moment. Now, Richie's on the option tyres. He was running primes earlier, so I think Richie has made a pit stop recently. I could be wrong. But he's 41 seconds off the leader.
That's massive.
It is, but that is indicative of a driver that pitted early and potentially is on an additional pit stop.
Just point out to you, Rickster has closed the gap up to only 4 seconds behind the leader. That's 4 seconds in 2 laps.
That is 4 seconds in 2 laps, but there's a possibility that Rickster is going to be doing an additional stop. No, Rickster's going to have 1 stop left. The 2 cars ahead of him potentially are going to have 1 stop left. So Rickster does need to close this gap up now because he's chasing for the lead of the race now. Now, are Connor and Paul still battling it out? They are. Connor, and we can see Rickster in the background there. Connor must be hating the races of late. How many times has he been stuck behind a leader? In the last couple of races, it's been his teammate. On this occasion, it's a bloody Williams.
Do you think he'll be any more aggressive because it's not his teammate?
I don't think he will.
Do you think it could be any less aggressive or any more aggressive?
It possibly could be more aggressive. But at the same time, when you're in the position that these 2 guys are in, they don't want to lose any part of their wing. They don't want any punctures.
Paul's getting close to that pit wall.
Paul's taking a very tight line, but it's compromising his exit. And look how close Rickster's got. But I was about to mention as well, Rickster, he's got nothing to lose.
Very true.
So
Connor's gone for the move up the inside. He's made it. Can he stick it on the exit?
Rickster's massively sideways as well. Connor's up the inside into turn 2 though. Oh, contact and Konzo is into the barrier. I don't think he's had any damage there, but that's given Rickster 2nd place, and it is no damage for him.
No damage.
Oh,
but that's gifted Rickster that place. He's not had to fight to get past.
That is very, very true. But is Rickster now just going to go and waste no time getting ahead of Paul?
He's got to get ahead of him. If he wants this strategy to work, he needs to be ahead within the next few corners.
Perhaps I'm not sure I'd say within the next few corners. He could potentially go for an overtake, perhaps down into turn 12. But if he does, he's just gifting Paul DRS. He'd be much better off just taking it easy and waiting, but he's given Paul a little bit of a nudge there in the corner where we saw Pastor Maldonado have it was Sergio Perez had an enormous accident there, didn't he? Rolled it.
He did, that's right.
in that particular corner, took a little bit too much curb. I think Maldonado did have a crash here as well, but then he crashes everywhere, so...
we've got Connor in the pits.
Okay, Konzo is in the pits. That's him going for an undercut. Oh, that's close for Paul and Rickster, but Rickster is going for the DRS overtake. I think Konzo's going to be going for prime tyres here.
Well, if he goes options, he's going to stretch it. He's got to stretch them a long way.
Rickster just about makes the move work. Sorry, go on.
Connor has gone prime.
I'm a little bit surprised that he's gone for the prime tyre here, but on the upside, Paul and Rickster are battling. They're going to lose time. Rickster has got to run the primes. He's still got to run the prime tyre, but Paul's going to go those extra 2 laps and run those options.
But with now Rickster being ahead of Paul, Rickster runs away now, puts the primes on. Surely he's going to come out ahead of Connor, because these tyres that he's on, he should be doing quicker laps than the first few laps that Connor's doing on the prime. Quite
possibly. It depends on how much pressure Paul can really apply to him on the slower tyre, which at this point, I mean, Paul's primes have done 13 laps. They'll still be good for a couple more, but they can't compete with a 5-lap-old set of option tyres, really. Oh, looks like a big lock-up for Rickster there. He may not have suffered as big a one himself, because we do get it emphasised to us, but he can clearly see that he is pulling out that gap. Is Paul going for the pit lane? No, he's not. Mulrine is in 3rd place. We've not spotted Mulrine for a while yet, but he's still got to run the prime tyre, and there you go, into the pit lane. That'll be for his prime tyres. Konzo heading up to the penultimate corner, and Richie Davey only 2 corners behind in 5th place. Charlie in 6th place. What's the chances we'll see him off track? There we go. Jason is in 7th place, but it's not letting us ride on board with him. And then we've got My Bad and Eraser battling it out for 9th place. My Bad on primes, Eraser on options. I think Eraser's going to start getting fed up with losing front wings in the World Series. And given, I can't remember exactly where he finished in the World Championship yesterday, he may feel like perhaps trying to take a more full-time seat in the World Championship. But it looks like we may have a move going on ahead. Jason looking a little bit of aggression, or a little aggressive on Charlie, and a lovely undercut move or switchback move around turn 1 there. But Charlie's going to defend into 2. Is he going to go deep? He's locked it up and he's gone a bit sideways, and Jason's given him plenty of room, but he's potentially going to be able to carry the speed through 3 and make a move into 4 side by side with Charlie. Up here is not where you want to be, and Jason realises that and backs out of it. I don't blame you.
Rickster's going around to do another lap, but I had noticed that Connor is now starting to close in on Rickster, so Rickster's tyres are going off. The primes are the tyres to be on at this moment in time. Okay, now it looks like Eraser has got ahead of My Bad while we was watching Jason and Charlie squabble over the tarmac, and Charlie's running wide. He's sideways, and Jason has to back out of the move there, but Eraser's now gaining on these 2, and Charlie's wide again. The gap between Connor and Rickster must have been... Somebody's pitted. Who was it that was in 2nd place?
Paul was in 2nd place, so Paul's pitted. Has he got option tyre?
He's got option tyre.
I've just been told Jason's lost it, but I can't watch on board with him. Jason, I wasn't watching, Steve was talking to me, but Jason's now down into 9th place. Oh, Charlie, by the sounds of it, puncture. That might be why Charlie was struggling then. He had a slow puncture coming. Now, you know it from practice. A few of the drivers have seen it where on our view they got a puncture and they're like, no, I didn't. And we're like, well, if you'd have gone half a lap longer, you would have had it. You actually tested it the other day, didn't you?
I did. And I noticed about half a lap before I got the puncture, the car had a bit of a snap oversteer. And the steering went heavy. It didn't feel right. A few corners later, puncture.
Now,
and Rickster is in the pits and he's exactly a pit stop distance ahead of Connor.
So this is going to be very, very close then. Now, Rickster's got no choice really other than to run the prime tyre to the end. He's not used them yet. Konzo has done 2 or 3 laps on these tyres already. He's got them up to temperature. How close is it going to be on the exit of the pit lane for Rickster?
Rickster's coming down the pit lane now.
It could be close, but I think Rickster may have it. It depends on how quickly he can get up to speed, because there he is. The problem for Rickster is his tyres are going to be cold, and they're primes, and they're horrible, and Konzo's are nice and lovely and warm. And also, look at the sky. It's getting a little bit grey.
Those clouds are starting to fill up.
Now Rickster's trying to defend around the outside, but Konzo looking up the inside because he's got the grip on those tyres around turn 4, and they're both may have been a little bit wide there. It was 3, okay, my mistake. Easily done. Massa corner, and there's Paul. And what tyres is he on?
Let's have a quick look.
He's on the option tyres. So he may have an extra... No, because he pitted lap 25. These two are battling for the lead, but Paul behind them's on the faster tyre.
He's in the prime position at the moment.
Option position. He definitely is. He really, really is. Now, that's someone that either worked that one out for themselves or... Oh, Konzo's going for a move! I don't know if Rickster perhaps had to back off then for being off track. I wasn't really looking, but Konzo now takes the lead. Oh, and Rickster's giving him a little bit of a love tap, and looks like he's backing off to let Konzo continue on in the lead, which is the right thing to do. But as these two squabble, it's only giving Paul more and more of a chance to catch up. Okay, let's see who else we have where.
The clouds are getting darker.
Those clouds are getting darker. So Mulrine in 4th place at the moment. We can see ahead. That is a big grey cloud. I think as you head round turn 1, it is a little bit more sunny, but as you head towards the deeper end of the circuit, the weather is not looking very nice. Richie Davey up to 5th place with Mulrine ahead of him. Eraser has worked himself up to 6th place, but is now in the pits with 9 laps to go. So I've got a feeling he's going to be bolting on another set of option tyres. My bad.
A little bit wide on the exit of turn 4, and it's allowed Paul to close up right on behind him. Right.
Paul has really closed up right onto him, so let's go and quickly ride on board with that, because Paul's really got himself into this battle. But this is a situation where for Paul, he probably... Oh, we're getting a bit of visuals there. Paul probably needs to get ahead of these guys as quick as possible. If he gets stuck behind these drivers, he's going to kill his tyres.
He's going to get to that switch point where the primes become a little bit quicker than the options. That's why he needs to be ahead, pull a bit of a gap.
Definitely. Now I'm wondering if these visual effects that we're getting on the camera are because of impending weather coming in. You spotted it on the radar in qualifying, the possibility of lightning.
It wasn't just rain, it was thunder and lightning.
It was thunder and lightning. So maybe the visual effects we're getting on the camera is that storm closing in, and the big cloud hovering above turn 1 and potentially turn 4 at the moment does seem to be gathering a little bit of strength. I tell you what, if it starts raining towards the last few laps of this race,
it could be anybody's.
It could be anybody's, because if
I wouldn't be surprised if Rich Davey was to end up overtaking everybody if it was raining.
Quite possibly. I tell you what, Rickster's really under pressure, and Paul. Oh, I was going to say, he looked like he was going to have a really good look up the inside into turn 5.
About it.
He is still thinking about it. I think he's getting a little bit impatient, and he's had a moment over the sausage curbs, and Rickster's getting impatient on Konzo as well. This is where the drivers do need to be patient, but it is difficult, especially for someone like Rickster, because he wants to attack, but he's got to be careful of being attacked.
I don't say anything because I don't want to
commentators cursing.
It's just amazing to watch.
I mean, for Rickster and Paul Hill, all they need is a good exit or a good run around this final corner, and they both could overtake Konzo. We saw it earlier on.
Paul's got a better exit this time.
Paul has got a better exit this time. He's going to... Oh no! Oh, it's a big crash. It's a huge crash. I think that may actually see the retirement of the Williams. I'm not so sure. It almost looked like he went to pull out from behind Rickster and lost it. I don't know if that's what happened or whether there was a little bit of contact there.
I think, from what I could see, he opened the DRS and that gap between him and Rickster just closed so quickly he didn't have time to pull out.
And Mulrine now all over the back of Paul. He's probably wondering what's happened to him. He'll have seen the carnage, the debris all over the road. Paul's going to be struggling now to keep it facing the right direction. To be honest, I'm surprised he's got the car going at all, because that looked like one of those big spins, a little bit like you see in an American baseball game where they get the fans out, stand a baseball bat up, get them to rest the head on it, spin round about 20 times and then say, right, go to first base, and they can never make it. It was one of those kind of spins there for Paul. But that's devastating for him in this race. But for Connor and Rickster, that just frees them up to fight now for the victory.
I mean, that was one hell of a spin.
It was.
I'm surprised the car's still running. I was expecting it to be total with the impact that he had on the wall.
A crash as big as that, I'm surprised he's not got much more damage, but he is limping it back to the pit lane now, currently in 4th place. Rickster is in position for a DRS attack into turn 1, and they'll be able to see the front wing of that Williams strewn all over the road. And for any driver that obviously won't have seen that happen, as they come down that start-finish, they're going to be wondering what on earth has happened. Halfway down the straight, there's a front wing.
Not the usual place you would find a front wing.
No.
Not as Charlie's racing.
No, that's harsh. That's harsh.
At Monaco.
That's harsh.
That was dry, wasn't it?
Yes. I think. I can't remember.
Yes, it was.
I heard...
Richard.
Oh, looks like Richie. What was that? Sorry, Ray?
Rickster, sorry.
Rickster, okay. Oh, Rickster has got ahead. We weren't watching it, but Rickster's actually backed out and let Konzo back through. So we didn't see what happened there, but
about contact.
Okay, so it's contact then between Rickster and Konzo, and Rickster has let him back through. And that's the drivers taking matters into their own hands to avoid any kind of investigations or penalties. But, I mean, 5 laps to go. It would be interesting to see what Rickster, if these guys make it to the end, what Rickster says at the end about if he had any idea of what happened to Paul, or whether I was going down the start finish, we got to turn 1 and Paul weren't there anymore. But anyway, okay, quick run down the grid then. So, we'll wait until turn 1 in case Rickster's going to go for an overtake here. He's not. So we have Konzo leading, Rickster second, Mulrine in 3rd place, not that far behind them. Richie Davey now up to 4th place. Hopefully doesn't have to pit again.
Unless it rains.
Farfba now down into 5th place. He's going to be devastated with that. Eraser's in 6th and not that far behind him. But guess who's behind Eraser?
It's Charlie.
It's Charlie. And then behind them we've got My Bad. He's a fair few seconds behind. Then Jason, who we can't run on board with, and Nightwalker bringing up the back of the field.
He's sizing up another move on Connor.
He's really trying to apply the pressure here.
Now Rickster's got the fresher tyres. Does he want to get this move done early, or wait until Connor's tyres go off a touch? Because Connor was on those tyres, what, 3 laps? 4 laps?
Konzo was on those tyres earlier. To be honest, it's a situation where a circuit like this, it's difficult to overtake. So if you can get the move done down the start finish, go for it. If you can't, just do what Rickster's doing here. Apply pressure, make him wear his tyres out. But as we know, the prime tyres will easily do 15 laps.
Yes.
So
it should be okay with them.
Konzo will have done
it's a big
12, 13.
That rain. Did I just see rain on my screen?
It is. The rain is starting to fall around turn 1. We said it could be possible. So with 3 laps to go, the weather takes a turn. Could that be why... Oh, I tell you what, at turn 3, it's looking like it's coming down heavy.
Rich Davies just missed the pit lane, so he's not going to go for the intermediate.
No, it'll be interesting to see if anyone does go for the inters early. The question is, will the slick tyres, could these slick tyres last 2 or 3 laps? And this is what the drivers are going to be thinking. The rain is definitely beginning to fall harder and harder. It's definitely wet at the silly chicane. This is going to throw everything up in the air, because if the drivers stay on the slicks when they need the wets, Rickster sideways, that's what's going to happen. If a driver gambles it and goes for the wets or the intermediates and it's the right call, they'll gain bucket loads of time.
So the older your tyres are now, does that make much of a difference with it being wet?
It's a puddle at that turn.
Do you have even less?
We have a car in the pit lane and it looks like a Sauber. Sorry, Ray, it looks like a Sauber. I think NW's gambling it for intermediate tyres. if there's puddles appearing, as Ray just mentioned, for the drivers,
we do have NW in the
they are gonna. Those puddles are going to appear quickly. Now, Konzo and Rickster have both decided to continue on. They're not giving this up. Mulrine, he's also continued on. Richie Davey.
We do have Nightwalker on the intermediates.
So Nightwalker has gambled those inters then. Richie Davies gambling on the slicks. I think Paul probably will as well. Oh, this is so intense. Because it's definitely raining heavy, and the problem for the drivers on the slick tyres is they might be okay now, but you know what could happen?
Just in one lap's time, it could be awful, absolutely awful.
Nightwalker could win this race if he's on the right tyre. I mean, just look how wet it is now in the silly chicane.
Charlie's in the pits. My bad was in the pits and he's back in the pits.
Okay. Now for Konzo and Rickster, this is a situation you really don't want to be in. You really don't, because if it doesn't, Rickster's sideways. He essentially gives him the lead, but if they don't pit and it's the wrong call, they both could lose out. Rickster looking at an overtake. I think he thought better of it there.
What would you do in this situation, or is it difficult to tell without actually being in the car?
Without actually being in the car, it's very difficult to tell. If the car feels like Konzo, he's gambled it. That I was about to say, you can't tell until you're in the car, because if you're in the car and the tyres feel okay, you carry on. But if you have that one moment that says no, it's not good enough, you've got no choice but to change, even if it is on lap 34 of lap 35.
Jason has changed his tyres.
So Jason has pitted as well, and look here, we have...
I'll tell you what would be interesting. We've got Jason that is right behind Rickster.
Now Nightwalker's in 10th place behind Mulrine in 2nd place, and Nightwalker's on the intermediate tyres and he's faster. Rickster, Ray's just said Rickster's off.
Yes, he's got Jason on the inters behind him, all over the back of him.
But I think Jason's potentially a lap down. He is, but Jason is on the intermediate tyres.
Does show the difference between these tyres.
Oh, this Mulrine, he's had no choice but to let his teammate past on the intermediates. Where's Konzo? Because Konzo put the intermediates on and he's right behind these two.
He's absolutely flying.
And Mulrine's going off. He's off. Don't turn in. Oh, that nicely done, Konzo. Now where's Rickster? Because Rickster...
4 seconds up the road.
That's how much Rickster's losing at this point. My goodness me. Talk about drama. And Jason's in a... He is. Now Jason's in a situation there where he's faster on the intermediate tyres. Now Rickster, what are you going to do? Because really, you haven't really got a choice. You've got to put it into the pits. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
What a call by Connor.
That
was perfect up front. He made... Okay, what's Rickster going to do? Is he going to pit, or is he going to stretch out one more lap? He's going
to carry on. Oh, I think he's realised at that point, though, that might be a bad decision, because, okay, Konzo is only just coming around the final corner now.
He can't go down the straight.
According to Ray, he can't get down the straight. He's going to struggle at turn 1. We can see Konzo in the background now. I have no idea what the order is behind them. If you want to have a quick, perhaps flick through. Rickster's wide at turn 1. That's going to put Konzo on him.
Mulrine's in 3rd. Mulrine could get Rickster here as well. He's only 15 seconds behind.
There's the gap. There is no gap. Rickster's wide again at 2. It's all gone wrong for McLaren. Konzo just drives through and Rickster's drifting.
Rich Davey could even get Rickster here.
So Konzo up into 1st place. Rickster still in 2nd. Mulrine's still on slicks, so he's not going to catch him. Richie Davey has gone to the intermediates. Has he got enough time to actually do anything about it?
I believe he has. He's got some time to catch up Mulrine.
He's not going to catch him. He's going to drive straight past him.
So that's Rich Davey into 3rd. And I tell you what, he's only 1 corner away from Rickster.
It's all over for Paul. I think Paul may have gambled it on those dry tyres and worked out it's not happened for him. My goodness me. Okay, Rickster, where are you? Struggling in the wet conditions. Where's Richie Davey? Is he actually going to get himself on a podium? Is he going to be 2nd or 3rd?
We've got one more corner for Connor.
So Conzo then, like you say, what a call. I mean, we were discussing it. What do? You've got to be on the right tyre at the right time, and Conzo was. What a way, what a race, what a win by Conzo.
That's driver of the day right there.
Richie.
Select the tyres at the right time.
And Richie Davey, he may still have a chance of getting Rickster. Oh no, Richie's had a moment, he's gone off. But I think Rickster's struggling himself. He really can't. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Oh, he's hit the back.
Oh, how close can it be?
He did it.
I think he was second place. I think he may have been second place. He did. And Mulrine is going to struggle around the final corner to take fourth place. Oh, wow. Wow.
So first for Connor, second for Rich Davey.
So Mulrine comes fourth. I think Charlie is fifth. He made the right call as well, putting the intermediate tyres on. Well done on that one, Charlie. So did My Bad, up to sixth place. A Razor still going round on the option tyres. So it's not gone well for a Razor in any shape or form, and it started badly in a collision with damage. I am absolutely gutted for a Razor. Jason, where's Jason? Jason's in 8th. I can ride on board with him now. Yes. He went with the intermediate tyre as well. But I tell you what, do you know who the first person was to put intermediates on? Nightwalker. Now, he couldn't make it benefit him more as much as other drivers, because I think he may have already been a lap down, or that pit stop put him a lap down. Oh, Jason! Oh! That was close, but oh my goodness me, what an end to the race. What an end to the Grand Prix. So there we have it. Conzo with a fantastic call taking the victory. Richie Davey coming out of absolutely nowhere, making the right decision as well to take second place. Rickster, I don't know if he's going to be just pleased that that ended or absolutely gutted that he didn't go in the pits as well. Oh my goodness me.
Sometimes you feel like you've got to do something different, and he took that risk. And fair play, he got to the end of the race, but he was unlucky. I mean, look at the difference in times. It's a tenth between him and Rickster over the line. Oh,
I mean, that is what you call close. Right. Wow.
I shall sort out the podium.
If you can have a look at the race director on yours as well. That. Okay. I mean, that was one.
Scotsman.
Oh, by the way, can I just say who's called for the race today?
Did I say Connor?
Did you, Eckers? Oh my god! Wow! That was one hell of a. All the way through that race, there was some good battles, some good action going on, and it was all kind of slowly building with a possibility of wet weather, and then what an ending! What an ending! Okay, so as we get ready to invite the top 3 drivers here in for the podium interviews. Take a moment, grab a drink, grab a moment of breath, because that was epic. Okay, so we've been joined then by Rickster. So before we get going, Rickster, if you can just make sure that you've got your party settings to have your microphone set, share to allow, and we'll get going with the interviews shortly.
Oh, apparently Paul lost connection on the last lap.
Oh no. After having that collision and continuing on to then lose connection on the last lap, that is what you call devastating.
Well, he did have the incident, I suppose. If you hadn't for that incident, he was in for the win.
Yeah, potentially. Okay, so Conzo now joins us in the for the podium interview. So Connor, if you can just make sure you've got your microphone turned on and set to share. And please do not swear. And we will wait for Richie Davey, and here he comes, I believe. There we go. Richie Davey joins us for the podium interview. So Richie, if you can please make sure you've got your party settings with your microphone set to share. And I'd just like to quickly say, well done to you 3. Please do not swear. You are live. And wow, what a race. What an ending to the race. Conzo, we're going to have to come to you straight away. Obviously, taking the victory there. We're sat in the commentary booth thinking he's probably getting frustrated being stuck behind another car. but I think everyone just wants to know, when you made that decision to pit at the end for the Inters, was there any doubt in your mind it was the wrong decision or the right decision to make?
Well, there was, but like the lap I decided to pit, I was 33 or something, so 2 laps and then to the end, but I was starting to slide around everywhere. Rickster was all over me for like 10 laps anyway, so I thought he was going to get by, so I went for the pits.
Well, it turned out to be one hell of a call and one hell of a correct call, because even being a pit stop behind essentially, so 20 odd seconds in 2 laps, that comes down. Now Rickster, we'll come on to you in a moment. So anyway, Konzo, obviously we talked about the end there. My mind's just gone completely blank about anything that happened before lap 33, so tell us how the race was for you from the start, going on. Comfortable, not comfortable?
From the start, I started third, I think, and I think I was 4th or 3rd. Marlon was in it as well, and I was kind of stuck behind Paul and Rickster for a little bit as well, so just kind of had to sit there and wait.
Well,
exploit any enough times I had, so.
Well, you made it work, and around a circuit like that, sometimes sitting and waiting is a good thing to do. So anyway, great call to take that pit stop at the end. Very well done on taking the victory there. And now we're going to move on to Richie Davey, because halfway through commentary, we're saying the first season we do podium interviews, you've only been on the podium interview once, and then you've obviously made exactly the right call, similar to Konzo, towards the end of that race as the rain's falling, to overtake Rickster after the final corner, before the finish line. Explain that call for us and those last couple of laps.
Well, it was raining, so you got to put wet tyres on, you know what I mean?
That might be a simple answer, but you know what? It's the right one.
It's common sense. If it's wet, probably on dry tyres.
Okay, seeing as we didn't get to interview you at Austria then, do you want to tell us what happened with your pit stops at Austria?
Common sense, isn't it?
Okay.
Is it raining in Austria?
I think you may have been. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't help. I couldn't help but say that.
You know what? I done 3 pit stops.
Yeah.
Because I lost my wing twice on the way out.
Ah, right. Okay. Now, obviously, we've had another race here where early on you lost your front wing again. It was getting very busy on the circuit at that point. I think there was 3 or 4 of you all sort of vying for position. So what's going through your mind, without swearing, when your car's heading to that barrier and a bit of wing's gone again?
This is going to be hard about swearing, to be fair.
should we leave it at that one then?
Same old story.
Okay. Anyway, a fantastic drive to work your way through the field and make that call again to go on to the intermediates at the end, because I think it was about 5th or 6th up to 2nd place in those last couple of laps, and overtaking Rickster on the line. Buzzing for you, devastation for Rickster, who we're going to move on to now. So Rickster, have you lifted your head out of your hands yet?
No.
Not at all.
I can imagine. So come on then. Why the gamble? What was you thinking that made you think, right, come on, we're going to go for it?
Well, I was trying for about 8 laps, or 8 or 9 laps, to get past Connor, and I couldn't get past him and stay in front of him. So then it got to lap 33, and I was just like, right, I'm just going to do the opposite to what he does. If he pits, I'm staying out. If he stays out, I'm pitting. So he went in, and with 2 laps to go, I thought that would have been enough. I would have had enough of a gap to get round, and I was just hoping the rain would ease up a bit, but obviously not. I lost the position to him, so I, come to terms with that one. Thought I was going to take 2nd. I could see Richie coming, and I come around the final corner, and then he passes me literally about 10 centimetres before the finish line. And I was just absolutely gutted, because I felt I had the pace to win this one.
I don't think you'd be the only one that was absolutely gutted. I think there'd be quite a few people that were watching that and sort of excited that Richie could be there to do it, gutted for you that you didn't do it, perhaps impressed that you decided to go on and gamble. I mean, we discussed it a bit. What would we do? And I mean, Steve, you said it, didn't you? You said sometimes you've just got to go with, okay, I'm going to do something different. So I can imagine that you, Rickster, swore quite a lot when you actually saw Connor go into the pits.
Yeah, I sort of go in and I was like, obviously without swearing, but yeah, I did curse a little bit. There you go.
Okay, well now we've covered the end of the race for you. How did the previous 32 laps go? Because the strategy looked okay.
Well, before the race, I always knew I was going to do a 3-stop because I'm not the best on my tyres as it is. So I was like, well, I'm going to try and do a 3-stop, make it work, see what happens. And then coming to the end of my, I think it was second stint, I caught Konzo and Paul and overtook them both. So at that point, I was like, well, I can win this now.
Yeah. And
then pitted for primes on lap 25. And then was fighting Connor for ages, but like that's the reason why I didn't follow him into the pits and change the inters, because I couldn't get past him on the prime, so I didn't think I was going to get past him on the inters, so I had to do something opposite to get past him. Yeah. So. Well,
it was a brave call. Unfortunately, it didn't work at work, but it looks like Steve's got ready to say something.
Yeah, it was on the start-finish line. We had Paul have an incident right behind Rickster.
Oh yeah.
Rickster, any idea?
Well, I don't know what happened. I did feel like a thud into the back of my car, and then I just looked behind me and Paul was spinning. So I reckon he's just opened his DRS, lost control, hit me, and then just gone.
Quite possibly. I mean, that was one where we just wondered whether, like, you had any idea what had happened there, because I didn't
have a clue.
Yeah. Now, I must admit, had it stayed dry, it would have got very, very interesting for yourself and Konzo, because Paul was behind you both on the option tyres. He was potentially in a position to go on and win that race up until that collision. But anyway, well done, Rickster, on taking, sadly, third place there. But well done, good drive anyway. So we'll go back.
Happy I've gained 15 points on Paul.
And so you should be. Okay, so we're going to move on to Konzo for one last question, one last few comments. With that victory, Konzo, you now essentially extend your lead in the Constructors' Championship. Not Constructors, in the Championship. Confident about the next race at Spa? Do you think you can turn this into a back-to-back victory?
To be honest, this was probably one of my better tracks. I don't think Spa's going to be great, but plenty of practice, you never know.
That is very true. Okay, thank you very much. Konzo 1993 taking victory in Hungary. Richie Davey out of nowhere taking second place there. And Rickster taking third place, who's going to be on the phone to his girlfriend who said, how did it go? Don't ask. So yeah, well done to you three, and we'll see you all in Spa. I'll just quickly say thank you very much to Steve for joining me in the commentary box. Thank you very much to Ray for helping out once again, and hope you're feeling better soon. And just a reminder that we will be live again tomorrow from 7:30 p.m. for FRRI Days, the feeder event into the Front Row Racing F1 leagues. That'll also be at Hungary. And then starting tomorrow night at 9 p.m. is the Front Row Racing Project Cars Friday League, which will be in the Formula Bs. There are still a couple of places, so if you're interested in joining a Project Cars League, send us a message on Front Row Racing Facebook page. There's also a league starting on Sundays, which will be at 8:30 p.m. starting this Sunday. And that'll be in the Ginetta Juniors. So once again, if you wish to join, find Front Row Racing on Facebook and send us a message. Anyway, that's it. We've been Front Row Racing. This has been the World Series, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers, guys. Well done. Interesting end to the race there.
Yeah, no joke.
Thanks for making it interesting.
See when you got in front of me, Rickster. Did you just think that you? Well, it didn't make a wee bit of a collision, didn't it?
Yeah, we did. It's just a little one. That's why
Is that
I
why you stopped?
completely forgot to talk about that. Actually, I felt that was my fault, so that's why I let you back through. So,
I was wondering why you slowed down.
but there you go.
It's always interesting what we hear at the end of the podium interviews where the guys think we're not broadcasted anymore.
Maybe it was Connor's fault. Maybe he should get a penalty.
No. Right, okay. I am going to bring the live stream to an end there. Thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you again next week.